everyone, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you how to crochet the granny spike stitch. It's a really lovely stitch and is something just that little bit different. So let's get started. I'm using a 4mm hook, and the yarn I'm using today is Stylecraft Special DK. So the way the pattern is worked, you chain multiples of 4. So however you wide you want your blanket or cushion cover to be, you're going to chain in multiples of 4, and then at the very end you add 1. So for this sample piece I'm going to be chaining 25 altogether, so that's 24, which is multiples of 4 plus 1. So let's chain 25. Okay, so that's your 25 chains, and what we do now is we're going to work 3 treble into the 5th chain from the hook. So as in my previous videos, you don't count this hook, this chain on your hook. This is known as your working chain. So you're going to count back 5 or 5. So you're going to work 3 treble into this 5th chain. So yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over and pull through the last 2. So that's your first treble, your second treble into exactly the same chain, and the last one into this same chain there, and you're going to chain 1. Okay, so you can see there you've got your first 3 trebles, and what we're going to do now is we're going to skip 3 chain. So there's your first chain, second chain, third chain, and in this 4th chain here you're going to work 3 trebles. So exactly the same as you've just done. Yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Work your second treble into this same stitch and your third. Oops. And you're going to chain 1. So there you go, you can start to see now these little clusters that are forming on your first chain row. So all you do is you're going to go all the way along to the end of this chain, and I'll meet you back here. And we're right at the end of the row here. You've just worked your last treble, 3 treble into that chain. That's your last cluster, and you've got 4 chain left on your row, so you're going to skip 3, and in the very last chain here you're just going to work 2 trebles, so just 2 this time. And that's your first row. And what you're going to do is you're going to chain 2 and turn your work, and we're on to row 2. Now row 2, if you bear with me and persevere, it is a little bit fiddly to do, but once you've got the hang of it, it's a very easy stitch and a very easy repeat, because all you're going to do is after row 2, that's the row that you're going to repeat for however long you want to do your project for. So all will become apparent in a minute. So you're going to work into the chain spaces now. They're pretty clear what the chain spaces are. They're these little triangular shaped spaces here. So you're going to put 1 treble into this first space here, okay? So 1 treble, and then if you look at the bottom chains here, those are the three chains that you missed out on your previous row. What you're wanting to look at is the middle chain, and that's where you're going to put your next treble. So yarn over and insert your hook into the middle chain, so the middle one there. Grab your yarn at the back, pull it through, and then what you can see now is it's looking very tight and a bit skew whiffed. So what you're going to do is you're going to pull that yarn that you've just worked over your hook, you're going to pull it up to the height of your treble that you've just worked. So once your hook is lying in line, can you see, with your previous treble here, that's how high you want this to be. It's obviously longer than the other stitches, but that's how you want it to be. So if you lie your hook flat against the previous treble, you'll know that you've got it the right height. And then you just finish off your treble. So yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2. And then to finish that stitch, you're going to put a treble into that space, the chain space that you put your first treble into, and chain 1. Okay, so that's your first spike stitch. I'll work that again, and really for the purposes of this sample piece I can just stay with you and work the whole piece, and it might be worth, before you have a go at doing a blanket or a cushion cover, if you're a little bit uncertain and you feel like you need to practice, then just do a sample piece like I've done here, and that will give you a little bit of confidence, and you can have a look at how it looks with whatever colour choices you've made. So what we're going to do now is we're going to just repeat that now. So you've chained 1, so you're just going to put your next treble into this space here as you did before, and then you're going to pick up the middle stitch of your 3 stitches below this one, insert your hook, just grab your yarn and pull it through, and then just relax your left hand and pull it up until your hook is level with that treble that you've just worked, so it's just sitting nicely on top. And then finish your treble and put one more treble into the chain space that you put your first treble into, so not into this, because this isn't a space, this is the stitch that you've just picked up from the previous row, which you can see if you look along there. So if you just pull your work to one side, you can see the big space there. That's where you want to put your treble, and you don't need to bring it up to the same height because you're not going down to the bottom, you're just going into that space there. Hope that makes sense. Chain one, okay, and do it again. So find your next space, work a treble, find the middle chain of the 3 that you missed out on the first row, grab your yarn, pull it up to the same height as the treble that you've just worked, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and your last treble, move your work out of the way a little bit so you can see that big space, insert your hook and finish that last treble and chain 1. Do it again, treble, pick up the middle stitch. It feels very strange at first when you're doing it because you just think it's not going to work at all, but as long as you relax this left hand so you've not got the tension too tight, which will allow you to pull up this yarn here again to the height of the treble that you've just worked, finish your treble off and put the 3rd treble into this space that you worked your first treble into and chain 1, and then the last chain space is here, so you do exactly the same. Chain 1, and you're right at the end of your row now, so you've got your original space from the last row, so you can see it there, but all you're going to do now is you're just going to put 2 treble into that last space, so just 2 treble this time, and you're going to chain 2 and turn your work. So we finished row 2, so that's the fiddly row, as we like to call it. So row 3 now is going to be the pattern repeat. Okay, so we're on row 3 now, so we've chained 2 and turned, so you're going to work 3 trebles into this next chain space. So you work your first treble into the space, and then what you're going to do is this cluster stitch from below where my thumbs are, you can see the tops of the 3 stitches. So what you're going to do is you're going to work a treble into the middle stitch. So yarn over, insert your hook, grab your yarn from behind, and this is where you relax your hand, your left hand, pull your yarn up so that your hook sits nicely at the top of that first treble you've just made, and finish your treble. And then you put your 3rd treble into that space at the back and chain 1, and you do the same again, treble into the next space, treble into the middle of the trebles below, grab your yarn from the back, relax your hand, pull it up, finish your treble and your third treble back into that same space and chain 1. And just carry on right the way along. So there's your next treble into the middle, and that last one back into the same space and chain 1. And what we'll do when we get to the end of the row, I will show you how to do a colour change. Last one. Into the middle. You're going to chain 1, and then as with the previous round, you're just going to work 2 trebles into this last chain space. So work your first treble and your second one, and on your last yarn over that you're going to do and pull through the last 2 to complete the stitch, this is where you bring in your new colour. So yarn over the new colour and pull through 2 loops, and then all you do is snip your previous colour, just tie a little knot in to secure it, chain 2 and then turn, and that's the end of that row. And then all you're going to do now is just repeat this same row over and over again for as long as you want it, whether it be a cushion cover or a blanket, baby blanket or a lap blanket. That's just pretty much it, and it makes a nice dense fabric. What I will do is I'll just carry on just so that you can see what it looks like once you've done a colour change. So you're working your treble into the first space, you're picking up the middle stitch from the previous row, and you're going back into the same stitch and you're going to chain 1, same again, and you chain 1, once you get the hang of it, it is a really lovely stitch to do, but it just adds quite a bit of interest to whatever project you're doing. Don't worry if you go wrong, like I've just done, we're all human. Just undo it, and that's the beauty of crochet, you only ever have one live chain that you're working with, you've not got a whole row of them, so that's what's good. Chain 1, and then we're at the end again. So you find your chain 2 space, you've got your 3 treble there from the previous round, so So you're going to work 2 treble into the end here, 1 and 2, and you're going to chain 2 and turn. One last row in this colour, treble, middle stitch from previous round, pull your loop up, and chain 1. Oops. And there you have it. You can go back to the previous colour if you want to, or you can just do one more row. I've been tending to do that first one. I've done 3 rows in that duck egg blue colour, and then I'll continue to do 3 rows in the cream and then change back to the duck egg blue. But it's entirely up to you. You can just do two rows and change back to, or you can do it all in one colour. I've started a cushion cover, which is really makes a lovely dense fabric. So what I'll do is I'll put all the materials I've used in the description bar below, so that if it's something you want to have a go at and use, Scheepjes is another really nice yarn that one of my favourite ones is to do like using, because it has a variegated colour, so it just adds a little bit more interest. So I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. Thanks for watching. See you next time.